Track 4 of the Artificial Leaves EP by singer-songwriter James Yardis. This track is called Modern Day Thomas. This was the first track that he and I recorded for this 5-song EP, and there are a lot of things that we need to get into because there's a lot of cool stuff. So let's go through it. Let's start off with the demo he sent me.
The world's going crazy, and my mind follows suit.
So, same exact thing here, except with an obvious. There's an intro because he didn't really want to send me an intro for the demo. We kind of figured that out and arranged what we want the intro to sound like. Just a strumming pattern here.
The world's going crazy, and my mind follows suit. It's got me feeling worried and scared and sad, don't know what to do.
First thing that you'll notice that sounds, I'm not going to say off, but it sounds a little different from the previous 3 songs that we've looked at. The vocals almost sound like it's tucked behind the guitar. There is a reason for this, and that reason will come out later on into the song. But for now, this is what it sounds like.
They scream in the city square, no kings for us. It's got me looking, and I've seen all you've done and all I gotta do.
First element involved here, first new element involved here, once we get from verse 1 to the, I want to say it's the pre-chorus.
And I've seen all you've done.
He played the bass on this track.
My Lord, yet
And so this is already how this track is differing from the demo with the additions that we're adding throughout.
I demand that you show me the hole in your side.
And also a slightly slower tempo, not a lot, but slightly slower.
Demand that you show me the hole in your side, like you haven't proven to me time after time.
Slower, slightly slower pace allows for the song to breathe a little bit more.
My modern day Thomas, and my modern day Thomas. I gotta open up your book.
Okay, lots happened here from verse 1 to verse 2. So if we take a listen to just the guitar here, you're going to notice the difference. Here is the verse 1 guitar. From verse 1 to verse 2, we go into a stereo guitar, which opens up the track. And also the other addition was percussion. And what we did for the percussive aspect in this track, and this was a spur of the moment addition, we had a lot of those, but in this case, the spur of the moment addition was, this is him just kind of drumming on his guitar with the pickup picking up this sound here. So all together, this is what we have.
To the pain or the hate, but the 1 Peter 5:7.
Also, harmony vocal added there too. This is really our first time realizing that our voices actually blend really, really well together. And also, just like I've mentioned earlier, where to come in when singing harmonies is super, super important. You don't want it to be all the time. You kind of want to have like a trade-off. You're singing harmony one line, taking off the next. So if we isolate the vocals as a whole here,
Not to the pain
no
or the
harmony,
hate, but the first
harmony.
Peter 5:7.
Something really cool. So the harmony and the doubles that we're going to be looking at later, those were all recorded before I got my sound dampening curtains in the corner of the room that really helped eliminate the room reflections. So all these other tracks were recorded before that happened. So there was still a lot of room reflections. So when James retracked the main vocal, this is crazy. It lined up perfectly with the harmony, the ad-lib, and the doubles that we'll be listening to later. So I didn't have to go in and re-record any of this, which is honestly kind of crazy.
Hey, but the first Peter 5:7. I hear her or do her, well, that's up to me.
Again, there's like a back and forth, like a trade-off. Harmony going one moment and then being taken out the next. It's a nice little pattern, but also the Word document example that I gave in my last producing video. There are certain sections you want to underline, italicize, put in bold. Especially these lines right here.
Hey, but the first Peter 5:7.
1 Peter 5:7 was a huge one.
I hear her or do her, well, that's up to me.
And then, of course, up to me as well. But then once we go into the pre-chorus, my harmony lasts the entire time, which not only makes the pre-chorus vocal bigger than the verse 2 vocal, it's also a little change because instead of the harmony coming in and coming out, it stays for the entire duration. Let's take a listen to that here.
Hey, but the first Peter 5:7. Am I here or do her? Well, that's up to me. Don't live like the world, no, won't even glance. You were tortured and killed. My second chance.
My apologies, it's actually during chorus 2, not pre-chorus. Pre-chorus is doing the same in and out like I was during verse 2. Let's move on a little bit.
I demand that you show me the hole in your side, like you haven't proven to me time after time. You are there.
Okay, a major change is coming up here. Let's take a listen to the demo in this right around here.
That you show. You are there.
You're probably thinking, why didn't he do that there? That sounds amazing. Well, I'm going to show you why. The climax in the song, when he and I were talking about this, is this last chorus here.
Steal your award. No powers of hell can steal your award. Jesus knows you, sees you, loves you.
That line, it starts off with carry your cross.
So carry your cross.
The only problem with that was the first half of the bridge.
Inside.
Right here.
You're scared of rejection, but that don't matter. Now seeing the ones you love in heaven is sadder.
Exact same thing going on. So the second half of the bridge that's supposed to be the climax, it doesn't necessarily feel like a climax because the first half of the bridge is hitting just as hard as the second half. So there are several ways we can go in and fix that. This was before we had decided on doubles, ad-libs, etc. So I expressed this idea to him and he was fully on board with it. A lower octave for the first half here. So this is what this sounded like. But also there is doubles along with a harmony as well. Listen to this change.
You're scared of rejection, but that don't matter. Not seeing the ones you love, and heaven is sadder. There's people who are killed and bruised and battered for this. So carry a cross.
Hear how much bigger the second half of the bridge sounded than the first half. This was the climax that we were looking for. This is what makes it hit that much harder, because he jumped the octave, made that second half sound way more emotional than it would have if the first half was in that same octave. That is a perfect example of how to build and achieve dynamics from changing the way you sing something. But also, arrangement wise, I added some things in the second half as well, but I was just isolating the vocal to show you guys that we changed the way this sounds vocally to increase the dynamics and to really emphasize this climax here.
You're scared of rejection, but that don't matter. Not seeing the ones you love, and heaven is sadder.
My harmony is once again doing the in and out. I'm singing third above on the last line of, the last phrase of every line here. Just in case, I know I've been through this before, but let's discuss the vocal doubles and how to achieve them. So I had him actually sing this one other time. This is on the old mic. I had him sing this on the old mic, and then I made them a bit out of sync. So this is what the doubles sound like on their own.
You're scared of rejection, but that don't matter. Not seeing the ones you love, and heaven is sadder.
That's on the old mic too. So not only are they out of sync from each other, which makes them different, but also the new vocal, the main vocal, is being sung on an entirely different microphone, which makes these doubles have more of an impact anyway. And also, here is the golden rule for when you're working with doubles. Let's see, how far apart did I make these? Okay, roughly 30 milliseconds. That is the golden number. If you get your doubles around 20 or 30 milliseconds apart from the original copy, in this case, this being the original copy, this being the new copy, they're 30 milliseconds apart. That gives your brain enough time to identify the fact that there's more than one vocal there.
You're scared of rejection.
And also, if you add the main vocal on top of that, let's go back to here.
You're scared of rejection.
These are not overpowering the main vocal, which they're not supposed to. They're supposed to act as an accent, as a stereo width enhancer, so to speak. If they were turned up to the same amount as the main vocal, the main vocal is plus 3 dB, these are minus 5, so there's an 8 dB difference. If I turn these up to where the main vocal is, here's what it sounds like.
But that don't matter. Not seeing the ones you love.
It gets really chaotic. It sounds like it's an actual choir or a group of people singing, and that's not what we were wanting to represent. What we were wanting to represent was just, this is his vocal getting slightly bigger.
Don't matter. Not seeing the ones you love, and heaven is sadder. There's people who are killed and bruised and battered for this. So carry a cross.
Biggest moment in the song right here. Let's go ahead and pull the sequencer back up. I want to talk about the ad-lib for a split second here, how we achieved that sound. This is pretty straightforward, but I'm going to go over it anyway. Let's isolate the ad-lib here. The ad-libs are in the second half. Scroll up a little to find them. Scroll down, right around here.
There's people who were killed and bruised.
So, pan to the left and turn down really, really low. because it's supposed to be like I'm screaming from the other side of the room. Like, this is supposed to be an accent. I'm not supposed to try and take over here. Which is also in this part here.
Carry your cross. Jesus knows you.
And also that was recorded on the old mic as well, so you can hear the room reflections in the recording, which is good because I was going to add reverb to make it sound further away anyway. But I didn't have to because there's natural reverb in the recording anyway, which automatically makes it sound like it's further back. So if we listen to the isolated vocals here.
And battered for this.
That vocal right there sounds like it's 5 or 6 feet away from the rest of the vocal. So it becomes an accent pretty much.
So carry a cross and pick up your sword. No powers of hell can steal your reward. Jesus knows you, sees you, loves you. This I promise.
Alright, now that we have all that figured out, let's listen to this final second half of the bridge.
So carry a cross and pick up your sword.
One more element that I totally forgot about until we just played it. Stereo piano, right here. Same principle, roughly 30 milliseconds apart from the original copy. That creates that stereo effect, makes it wider, makes it bigger. And also, one thing that's important when you are playing around, trying to figure out what other musical elements to add. You want them to be different so they're noticeable. What I mean by that is I could have easily played just chords here. But there's a guitar. There's a guitar right here. That's already playing chords. So if I had played chords on the piano, that would have been white noise because there's already chords being played in the form of a strumming guitar. So in order to make the piano stand out, I went for an arpeggio type sound. Now both of them stand out in their own way. The guitar providing not only harmonic information, but also a good bit of percussion from the strumming. And then you have the piano as more of the free-flowing complements to the melody and the vocals. So now that we're done with that, now let's go ahead and take a listen to the entire climax of the song.
So carry a cross and pick up your sword. No powers of hell can steal your reward. Jesus knows you, sees you, loves you. This I promise. No need to be a modern day Thomas.
Everything at the end, I cut it all at the exact same time, so when you hear modern day, the only thing you hear is James's main vocal. Everything else gets cut out.
To be a modern day Thomas.
And then it goes back to the beginning, where it's just a mono guitar.
To be a modern day Thomas.
And that is the entire song. It's been a minute, and y'all have probably forgotten, but here is what the climax sounded in the demo recording. Here's the first part of the bridge.
Seeing the ones you love in heaven is Saturn. There's people who were killed and bruised and battered for this. So carry a cross and pick up your sword. No.
So yeah, that is basically.
So carry a cross and pick up your sword. No powers of hell can steal your rewards.
Well, that is the entirety of Modern Day Thomas, track 4 on the Artificial Leaves EP. I will be back with the final track, and it's a fun one as well. Until then, Mess J, signing off. See y'all.